Hey guys, it's Melanie. Happy Sunday. Welcome back to another round of candle reviews here on my channel. I do have 3 videos that are going to be going live today. They're 3 different candle company reviews, so hopefully that is something that interests you. We're gonna get started with the Candleberry cookie jar. So this is actually only my second purchase that I ever made from Candleberry. So obviously I kind of went in whole hog, if you will. The very first order that I placed was just a bunch of their wax melts to be able to try out some of the fragrances. I will tell you that I do not love their wax melts. They are made with paraffin. I don't love that they are in cardboard boxes. And I find that they are another one of those like one day and done type of wax melts. If I can get away with it, I'd like to be able to use the same wax melts at least 2 or 3 days in a row. But definitely by the second day when I go to turn on my warmers, pretty much there was no fragrance left in the wax. So I would just end up changing it out after a day, which is fine. Really, the only reason that I purchased the wax melts to begin with was to be able to experience several of their fragrances without having to necessarily commit to candles. I do wish that they had an option like Kringle's Daylights, where you can actually purchase like a votive or something smaller to be able to test the fragrances that way. I think the wax melts are a fine way to do it, but I really do love the votives or daylights idea. I just think it's, I just think it's maybe a better way to test the fragrances than it is to purchase the wax melts. Because, so the Candleberry candles are made with soy, but the wax melts are made with, I believe it's like a paraffin blend, or they're just 100% paraffin. They're very hard. They come in cardboard boxes. They're not like wrapped in any type of like special, what does wax have to be in like polypropylene bags or something? Like there's a certain type of like plastic bag that you have to have that doesn't leach the fragrance out of the wax melts. But Candleberry just basically sticks their little cakes of the wax melts into a box. It's not completely sealed or anything like that, and then they just ship it to you that way. So yeah, I did purchase 1 small candle the very first time that I placed an order because I did know that the candles were soy, the wax melts were paraffin, and I did want to be able to see what one of the candles burned like. I did like the way that the small jar burned, and the reason that I even found out about Candleberry was because someone had asked me about their cookie jars. And so my intention was to get one of these cookie jars all along, but I just needed to find a scent that appealed to me, because if you're gonna commit to something like this, you better like the fragrance, because these candles are 160 ounces. They are 4 wicks. And they burn for 400 to 800 hours. Oh, wait, let me clarify here. They are not 100% soy, they are a soy blend. That's different. So, yeah. Anyway, I had a subscriber reach out and ask me if I had ever heard of the Candleberry cookie jars, if I've ever, tried one, and I was like, no, what's a cookie jar? Totally became obsessed as soon as I saw them on their website, and that got me started down the path of getting some of their melts and one of the small candles just to see how it would burn. I have to say I have been quite pleased with how this cookie jar is performing, and we're going to get into all of that here. But I will say the wax is definitely not as clean of a burn as the Kringle soy wax is. So I know some people are going to ask me about the comparison between the two, and I will tell you now that they're different. This is definitely a wax that needs a little bit of attention. The wicks definitely need to be trimmed. There is a little bit of a carbon residue that does fall back into the wax. I don't love that, but it's not awful. And quite honestly, the wax doesn't look super dirty. But I do think that if you leave this lit for a very long time, you are going to probably make a little bit more of a mess out of the wax the longer you let it go on a single burn. I kind of learned that myself because one day I let this thing go for like, I think it was close to 10 hours, you guys. Like I had it lit all day long. And I did notice that the wax was looking a little bit dirty. And so to clean it back up, I went ahead and blew the candles out. And then I took a paper towel and just kind of gently ran it around the wax. And what that did is it kind of collected some of that carbon residue, and I was able to get at least some of that out of the wax. Now, I since then have not burned this candle for quite that many hours. I think that's way too long. But you certainly can burn this for quite a number of hours before you start to really have a ton of issues. One thing I will say that I'm a little bit disappointed in myself in is that when I first got this candle, I was going to test out exactly how many hours of burn time I was going to get out of this. And I don't know if I accidentally put that piece of paper into the recycling bin, or if maybe Stella or Craig tossed it, just not knowing what the numbers meant. So unfortunately, I am not going to be able to report back on exactly how many hours I get out of this particular candle jar. I was curious myself to measure that because the burn time range is somewhere between 400 and 800 hours according to the company. And when I first shared this candle, I thought that that was like a really large range for like burn time. So I was a little bit hesitant to not count the number of hours, just because I really wanted to see how long this was going. I don't remember how many hours I had gotten up to before the piece of paper went missing. So I was just like, yeah, whatever. I will purchase another one of these in the fall for sure, because I want to get one of their fall scents in the cookie jars. So when I do the review on the fall fragrance, whichever one I decide to get, I will make sure that I keep track of the burn time in my phone so that the paper doesn't get tossed. So sorry about that. I really wanted to be able to let you guys know how many hours I had been burning it at the time that I reviewed it, and then also at the time that I finished it, but I'm not going to be able to give that information to you guys with this one. So did I tell you what the scent is? You know by the title, but it's the vanilla crumb cake fragrance. It is really yummy. I've technically already reviewed the fragrance, but I will go ahead and just talk about that here really quickly, and then I'm going to kind of get back into like the burn part of this, because I feel like that's where I really want to focus with this particular review. So the fragrance description is, enjoy the fragrance of nutty vanilla cake drizzled with caramel and sugar. Now I will tell you, I'm not a huge caramel fan. I'm pretty picky about it. I actually prefer to not have caramel in things, but if it is in a fragrance, I need it to not be super cloying, and I need it to not be the very first thing that I smell. And gladly with this particular scent, that's not really what I get. I do get a delicious gourmand, just vanilla cake note from this. There is some nuttiness to it for sure, and it is quite sweet. It's really delicious. This is a very basic scent. I would say if you're looking for something exotic or unique, or something that is maybe something that you've never smelled before, I'm not sure that this is the fragrance I would tell you to go for. But I can tell you that if you are like me and you love a good basic like vanilla gourmand, you're gonna be quite pleased with this. It is yummy, and it goes with so many of the other gourmand candles that I'm burning at the same time as this one. So I have been burning this every single day since I've gotten it, and I am not quite sick of the fragrance yet, but I will tell you that by the end of this jar, I will probably need a break from it. But it is delicious. Like fragrance-wise, this one, top notch. So Candleberry says that all of the cookie jars are custom made. Please expect an additional wait of up to 5 days prior to shipping. So I don't think that that's necessarily the case actually, because when I ordered mine, I received it within like a few days of placing my order. So I imagine they might have some of these poured, or maybe, you know, some of the more popular fragrances, they tend to maybe like make a couple of those a week in anticipation of people ordering them. I'm not sure, but I got mine super, super quickly. By the way, I paid for all of the Candleberry stuff myself. They don't know who I am. Like, this all came from my PayPal account. So these retail for, did I tell you guys what they cost? They're $159.99, so basically $160. That is a huge investment for a candle, but they burn so long. I feel like most of us who are like in this candle community, like we blow a lot of money on this frivolous stuff, right? And for me, I thought that this was like a really kind of fun video idea, and I just really like the look of these. And I have been insanely impressed. Honestly, while I wish the burn was just slightly cleaner, I do think that for what it is, it's doing a pretty darn good job. I have been trimming the wicks between each burn. I don't trim a lot off, and I do try to wipe the wicks with a paper towel prior to lighting to get a little bit of that like excess carbon residue off. I have done that in the past with the Kringle paraffin country candle jars. But you have to be careful with these wicks. These are not like the paraffin wicks from the country candle line. Those are very sturdy, very hardy. Like you can just wipe and not snap them off. These will snap. So you have to be careful. It might actually be a better idea to grab like a tissue even versus a paper towel, because you're going to be able to like tell how much pressure you're using. If you are using like a piece of toilet paper or a tissue versus a paper towel. I have snapped a couple of these wicks rather short. Thankfully, it has recovered, but definitely be careful if you're going to do that. But it does help with that carbon sort of dropping down into the wax again. In terms of performance, when it comes to the messiness with regard to soot, I don't feel like this is a particularly like sooty candle. Typically soy burns a lot cleaner. Pure soy is the best, but even a soy blend will oftentimes do better than something like a paraffin. So this is quite warm. I would love to just like run my fingers on the inside of the jar here to be able to like show you. So, but it's really warm, so I don't know if this is gonna work, but yeah, oh, that's hot. Oh, okay. So you can see that there's just like a little bit up at the top here. There is a lip here that collects anything. Like if you can see that right there, that's that little tiny lip there. That is collecting just a little bit of soot there, as you can see, but it's not awful. And while I want to like wipe, here, let's see. Can I do that? All right. So here we have just a little bit as well, but it's really not bad. I anticipated this to be a lot messier. It's really not terrible. Would I prefer the Kringle 100% soy formula in here? Absolutely. But I don't think that this is a bad soy formula. Like I said, no matter what candle you are burning, at some point you are going to release some amount of soot into your home. I think it's just important to be mindful of how many candles you're burning at any given time. I also think it's very important to ensure good airflow and to also air your house out periodically. You know, and then don't be the person that burns like 75 candles at a time. As long as you're reasonable with it, I think that that particular amount of soot that you guys saw on my finger there, that's okay with me. But anything beyond that, like I would probably start melting this. So there's that. Soot, it's there, but it's not awful. What else? Oh my gosh, I feel like I should be saying so much because this is just so much candle. Oh, one question I know I'm gonna get, so let's just get it out of the way right away. How does this compare to the Homeworx Jumbo Luxe candle? As you guys know, I have a Homeworx Jumbo Luxe in the vanilla, what is it? The spun vanilla sugar. I think it's the, sorry, I was looking at it. It's down in this little cabinet here. It's the spun vanilla sugar. In terms of strength and throw, I think they're pretty equal. The Homeworx one, by the way, is 5 wicks. The Jumbo Luxe from Homeworx is 5 wicks. This one here is 4. They both have the same output in terms of strength and throw, so let's talk that. That's probably going to be somewhere around like an 8 or a 9 for this one. So I'm glad that I can give it that number, because if I had to give it anything lower than an 8, I would think that that would make this not as worth it for me. When I buy something like this, I would like this to be a house filler. So this is definitely a house filler for me in terms of strength and throw. And quite honestly, the Homeworx Jumbo Luxe is as well. The Homeworx Jumbo Luxe retails for $120. I think it's $120 when there's no sale, if you're not using like an ambassador code or anything. And then the burn time on the Homeworx is only, hold on, I want to get this right. So let me grab it out of here because I know that that information is on the bottom. 85 to 125 hours. Significantly less burn time than this one. So I think in terms of bang for your buck, even though you're paying a little bit more for the cookie jar, I think that you are going to, I think you're just gonna get more use out of this one in terms of, I think it's gonna go further. But if you're someone that doesn't want a candle to last for even 400 hours, like if you're gonna grow tired of the scent by then this would not make sense. You might be better off going with a Homeworx if they have a scent that you like, because you're gonna get through it faster. So if that's the appeal for you, then definitely do that. Hold on, I have to put this thing down. That's a heavy candle. I will say the packaging of the Homeworx candle it's beautiful. The jar is lovely. I love it. I would probably not purchase another one of those unless it came out in a scent that I really, really loved. So if Harry decided to put out, say, like a berry trifle, or if he put out, oh my gosh, Harvest Leaves. Why is Harvest Leaves not in the Jumbo Luxe? If that could happen, I would be so pleased. Or even like the blueberry cheesecake or something. I would totally purchase that in the Luxe. But yeah, I don't know if that is in the works or anything like that, but I would purchase another one of those if one of those scents came out. So, all right, I feel like I've gotten through pretty much everything that I wanted to share. Overall, if I were to give this a grade, I would give it a, like somewhere between a B+ and an A-. I am definitely docking some points for that little bit of soot that you guys saw. I'm docking some points in terms of the wicks being somewhat fragile and, you know, that carbon residue sort of discoloring the wax, but it isn't bad at all. I will give you guys an overhead view because I know that that can be helpful. So let's go ahead and show you what it looks like from the top here. All right, so do you see those little black, there's a black area right here. There's some right over here. Those are actually, let me see, is this zoom gonna work really well for this? Not really. Okay, well, let's just go back. That is that carbon residue kind of floating around on the top of the wax. So not ideal, but not awful either. By the way, this takes not a lot of time to pull out. I really expected this one to take maybe up to like potentially 2 hours to completely pull out after the first burn. under an hour. It was completely pulled out. And by the way, when you receive these candles, they are poured to the brim. Like my wicks were sticking up way above like this lip here. They were actually kind of folded over when I received the candle, but they pour this thing completely full, you guys. So if you're looking for a lot of wax, you're gonna get it out of this. So I'm really happy with this. I think it was money well spent. I'm still enjoying the fragrance. I'm not sick of it yet, but I could see by the end of it being kind of over it for a little while. But it is a scent that I would probably definitely return to. And I'm excited to see what their fall offerings are because that is my favorite season. And I would love to have one of these in their fall scents as well. So yeah, by the way, the cookie jar does come with a lid. So you can totally reuse this after you are done with it. I am gonna be using this for probably dog treats. So I will be cleaning this out very, very carefully. I'm gonna wash it multiple times. I'll probably also, just for a final cleaning, put it through the dishwasher as well. But I really wanna make sure that I get all of like that residue from the fragrance oils out. Like I don't wanna like, you know, obviously poison my dogs. So you can clean these very carefully and reuse them, which I love. I think it's nice when you can keep anything out of the landfill. This is what the lid looks like here. So it literally just looks like a traditional like cookie jar type situation. It's really cute, especially if you have this type of aesthetic in your house. I will say, I think the aesthetic of the Homeworx candle fits in a little bit more with my decor tastes, but I also think that this works as well. So, and I can very easily reuse this in my kitchen, and we'll keep Alf's little bones in there, and he's gonna be super excited about it. So, I think that's everything that I want to share. Please let me know if you guys have any additional questions. I'm really sorry that I didn't have the burn time ready to go. If I happen to come across the piece of paper, I'll definitely, I was putting down the dates, so I'll be able to tell you, you know, up until that point. But yeah, I've been burning it every single day. It is going for several hours a day, like typically like 5, 6, 7 hours. And like I said, the longest that I've ever burned it has been right around 10 hours. And I think that's probably when I collected like this soot here. Like I imagine that's probably when that happened under the lip there, because if you're gonna burn a candle that long, you're gonna get some sooting from it. So I would not recommend that length of burn time, but anywhere between like 5 and 6, maybe like between 5 and actually 7 hours, I think you're totally fine with this one. I have used it in a hurricane. This is the Chester hurricane pedestal here. And most times I do have the glass part on it, but I don't need it. Like I don't need that at all to get this to pull out. By the way, I lit this, I think this has been lit for like an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. So you can see it pulls out very, very quickly. Like there's a nice wax pool going already, but once it really gets going, like you have a nice thick wax pool. So a lot of concentrated fragrance oils and really good strength and throw. So if that's what you're looking for and you're willing to blow the money, there you go. I'll put a link to Candleberry down below. The link that I put is just their like refer a friend link. You can sign up for that on their website as well. And that'll save you $10 off your first purchase. But if you sign up with their emails, I think they send you a 15% discount. I know that I used that the first time that I placed an order from them. So you can definitely use that on these cookie jars if you're looking to save a little bit. But yeah, the link down below is just for like an automatic $10 off. But if you're looking for a little bit more and you're okay with getting emails, they do email, I would say almost, I wouldn't say daily, but like several times a week. So prepare yourself for that. Anyway, if you don't mind that, sign up for the emails, save a little bit of money that way. I hope this was helpful. Again, let me know any questions down below in the comments. Check out the description box. I'll link this for you, and you can go maybe read up a little bit more about it yourself. Let me know if you have had a cookie jar from Candleberry. Let me know your experience, if you've ever finished one, and if you would repurchase or not. I think there's not a ton of Candleberry videos that I've found here on YouTube. So yeah, share the information. Let us all know about your experience as well if you have one with Candleberry. Please subscribe if you are new. Give this video a big fat thumbs up if you found it helpful, and I will see you guys in the next one. Right off? Wow. Hopefully you guys can hear his snorts on camera. He's so cute. What a sweet boy. All right, see you in the next one. Take care. Toodaloo.